Why am I at Wake House in the middle of the street with a ridiculous moustache on? Well, we are celebrating today the 200th anniversary of the birth of one of the greatest fashion designers ever. Have you ever heard of the House of Worth? Well, maybe you should have done, because it's named after this man, Charles Frederick Worth, born 200 years ago this year. And he was born here in Bourne. Fantastic. I'm actually in the middle of the street. This is one of the main streets in Bourne, much busier than it was when Charles was born. In fact, he was born in this very house. Today it's a venue with different meeting rooms, a cafe, etc. And it was here that he grew up in quite a wealthy family, and he went to Bourne Grammar School. However, in 1836 his world was turned upside down because his father struggled with gambling debts and drink and abandoned the family. Charles went to work for a printer, but after a little while, in fact when he was 20 years old, he'd grown up, he'd learned his trade, he worked with a draper as well. He then decided bravely to move to Paris, and it was in Paris, all right, that he ended up with barely a word of French to his name and only £5 in his pocket. And from there he began to create his own lines and design, and indeed he is man credited with Haute Couture, but also he was one of the first people to use live models on a catwalk to display his incredible creations, and as such we are here today to celebrate that. We've been doing a fantastic fashion parade with various different costumes telling the history of the town in which he was born. So if you haven't heard of Charles Frederick Worth, you have now. One of the greatest fashion designers, and of course one of England's greatest designers.